Hello. I have some leftover pinole flour that I really don't want on hand anymore. We have some old yeast. Yeast. I'm gonna make another batch of bread dough for Aaron. I'm gonna be cleaning some kale. It's just a mishmash of things, but welcome to Sunday. It is very chilly. Hope y'all are staying warm. It is very expensive to be a homeowner. I was shocked when I got mom's heating bill, which I had assumed setting on a 56-degree hold inside her thermostat would ensure that the pipes wouldn't burst in sub-zero weather, but it costs a lot. So maybe that was the wrong setting, or maybe that's just what it costs to make sure that the pipes don't burst, but god damn it, I don't think I'm ever going to be a homeowner. It's ridiculously intensive in terms of energy and money too. But anyway, bread dough, shall we? Aaron, what flavor of bread do you want this time?
I can think about that too. You just spraying this on me.
You can not choose, or you can tell me. Do you want savory this time?
Sure.
You want to try a different flavor?
Yeah, just go.
Didn't mean to make you feel pressure. What's the most interesting bread that you've had? Well, let me know. So we're just gonna go through the spice cabinet and see what random things we can put into this batch of dough. Once again, I'm going to just follow the rye bread recipe proportions for this dough. So if you want, that's the recipe again. But I'm not going to be really following anything else besides the flour to water ratio. So I'm just gonna go ahead. This will be the last of my mistake yeast from like 2018, 2017 potentially even, mixed with mom's leftover yeast. And then we're gonna pop a little bit of this random packet of yeast that I found in my freezer. I'm not sure why I have it, but I do. I don't think I'll need all of this, especially because this is probably still okay yeast. Ooh, what did I drop in there? Did I drop a piece of plastic in there? Yep, foil. Let's see. Maybe I'll just use all of this. Maybe not. Having second thoughts. 1 teaspoon. Yeah, why not? Alright. It's going to be a very active little bundle. What I also have here is, this is some sourdough discard that I dehydrated. That label is not accurate. These were sourdough flakes that I dehydrated, and then I rehydrated them this morning. So it's not an active starter, but it will add some flavor. So we're just gonna go in with a little bit of this. Okay. I'll save a little bit of that for my crackers. was approximately 40 grams-ish of water. I'm going to need 320 grams more. I'm so not put together, I don't even remember if I zeroed out the scale. Probably didn't. But if we need more water, we'll play by ear. For this batch of dough, we're going to be going in with bread flour, but I also found this cornmeal that was in my freezer. It was Best Buy February 2021, so we're reaching a year of past Best Buy date. So we're just going to make some corny bread, I guess. I think I probably bought this when I was testing a recipe for a corn cookie. That's how that happened. I'm going to continue using up this very expired barley malt, so just gonna go in with about 2 tablespoons here. Thick, very thick treacle. Look at that. Wow. That is intense. Aaron, help. Can you grab me a mini spatula, please? Okay, open up the spice cabinet since you're here. Do you want to help me decide what random spices we'll put into this bread?
I'm bad at this.
That's okay. I can choose. I want to make you a spicy bread. Is that okay?
Yes, that would be awesome. I'm sure it'll come out amazing, however.
I don't know if it will come out amazing, but I'll try my best.
Yes.
I took out your bread.
Thank you.
Will you be needing the stove?
No, well, actually I should toast the bread up. Let me defrost it in the microwave first.
Okay, so we're gonna need about 425 grams-ish of flour total. It's 365 grams of bread flour, and then the remainder, about 60 grams of cornmeal. The Bills did win yesterday, indeed. Okay, instead of normal salt, we're gonna go with our black salt, which has a smokier flavor. It is a very finely ground salt, so it is kind of chunky, so I'm just gonna gnash it inside the jar to make sure it's a powder consistency so that we don't get too many big nuggets of salt. That would be unpleasant, I would imagine. Grams. Okay. I'm gonna add half a teaspoon of Mom's ground black pepper, but it also has like smoked paprika, everything bagel seasoning, basically everything that didn't have a place to go that was just like a minuscule amount. I combined them all into one jar, so we'll go in with like a half teaspoon of that. I'm gonna go in with some of Aaron's black mustard seed. Maybe 2 teaspoons of that. And then I'm gonna go in with some nala karam. It's like an Indian spice blend. Has a lot of really fun, cool, good stuff in it. A teaspoon of that. And I'm just gonna go in with like a 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne. Then I'm gonna add in the rest of this flaxseed just for some structure to the bread. So that's about a tablespoon worth of flaxseed. Here we have Do you want to toast your bread? Ooh, that black salt smells sulfuric. You know that smell of like cooked eggs in an egg salad after it's sat out in the fridge for about 4 hours? That's what this bowl smells like right now. It smells intense. So with this recipe, it's pretty much what they would technically call a no-knead recipe, which just means that once I bring the dough together and once all the ingredients feel cohesive as a dough, I cover it with a towel and I just let it sit and rest. And in that time, the gluten will start to develop on its own. This gluten structure will be a little bit fussier because I added cornmeal, which has absolutely 0 gluten. So we'll see how that goes. Also, I probably should have mixed the malt barley a little bit better, but I didn't, so now we're gonna have to just use a little more elbow grease, I guess. bread flour is quite amazing. It develops gluten fantastically. So if you ever feel like you're not a good baker when it comes to bread, I highly recommend that you buy a good brand of bread flour and use that instead of all-purpose. The added protein content in bread flour will help the gluten structure become stronger, and it'll just make your bread a little less risky to human error. If your bread is coming out super dense, probably not enough gluten development, and or you underproofed it. So especially in the winter months, especially if your house is cold, you're just gonna have to be a little bit more patient about when to bake the bread, because it might take longer for that dough to rise properly. Did anyone give me answers about the most interesting bread they had? Yes, bolo bao. Oh my god, bolo bao is amazing. The sweet crumbly part on top is called a cracklin, I believe. I think it's French. Cracklin, maybe it's pronounced more like. But it's basically like a shortbread. So that's a different dough. The crust on top of pineapple buns or bolo baos are a separate creature than the dough itself. There is so much science to baking, but actually I find that even when I understood or thought I understood the science, it didn't really help me. When it comes to cooking and baking, a lot of the times it is just experience and experimentation. You develop a feel for what things should be like in terms of batters and doughs after you've failed a certain number of times. That smells so good. Why does that smell like senbei? Like rice crackers with MSG and sugar and salt?
Yeah.
Is that something?
Yeah, so I noticed something
smells like senbei.
Yes, something. It was before the bread. Something in the kitchen. I think it's that actually. I think it's that dough.
So this is what our dough looks like. I think it's pretty good right now. Aaron and I are gonna go out for a walk to get some chocolate at around 4. So it's kind of nice that everything's a little bit cold, because that means that we can slow the fermentation, especially because I used so much yeast. I used like the dead yeast, and then I used a packet of I don't think quite as dead yeast. So this might rise really fast. For me to control the fermentation now is kind of impossible, because all the organisms that are alive in there will just warm up and activate themselves, and it'll be a roller coaster that I'll just have to come back to. But that's it. That's basically it. It has some structure. You can see it's cohesive, no dry spots. But we're just gonna cover it up with a towel and leave it be. Do you like tasting doughs, Aaron?
I'm more used to tasting
Sweet doughs?
sweet doughs. Yeah, I'm not used to tasting bread doughs.
All right. Well, I'll do it. That's That's not cheese. That's bacon fat. I'm gonna go put this in our other room so that it can slow the rise. Smells so good in here right now. How was the pasta left over?
Great.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Definitely not. That's wet. Okay, time for my crackers. This is panole flour. If you've seen the pantry clean out episode of Budget Eats, you've seen me use this flour. Probably bought this a very long time ago. It's used, I think, in Latin America to make like a very thick drink. But it's basically like a slightly sweetened dough with a lot of spices, warming spices, maybe some cocoa in there. It's a cornmeal, basically, that is sweet leaning with additions like sugar and spices. So I'm just gonna put this with some buttermilk and try to make a dough, and then maybe put some seeds in it, and then try to make some crackers, because I feel like getting snacky, and I feel like getting rid of this ingredient. I really don't want to see it anymore.
You get that in Atlanta?
Yeah. vitamins. Vitamin check. Bacon fat and olive oil. Wow, luxurious. Will you show the good people what that looks like up close?
Yeah, well, I didn't toast the bread in butter or oil, just dry, so a little extra.
Nice.
June's beautiful bread.
Thanks for coming. Okay, so we finished a jar of peanut butter. I'm going to scrape it in here. And it'll have a hint of peanut butter in the dough. I don't know what gross thing was on the bottom of this, but it was caked on. And now it is no longer caked on. Don't mind that. Okay. 160 grams of pinole flour. I'm gonna go in with a little bit of mochiko, which is glutinous rice flour. About 40 grams of that. That's what that looks like together. I'm going to add in a tablespoon of sugar for now. We'll taste it later to see if it needs more. I'm going to add in a tablespoon of our cranberry seeds, because what else am I going to use that for? This is what cranberry seeds look like. Ocean Spray sent it to me. I don't know why. I don't see it on the market, so I'm not even sure if they wanted me to promote this or not, but here you are, cranberry seeds. They exist. I'm going to add in some white sesame seeds for a little bit of nuttiness and pop. Two teaspoons because I love sesame seeds. I am going to add in this leftover ground ginger that we were like, June, you should throw that out when we were cleaning our spice pantry because it's time for it to go. Let's go in with a little bit of Mom's salt. not sure how much salt we'll need. I'm gonna say that much. Maybe a 1/4 teaspoon. Okay, so we got cranberry seeds in here, sesame, we got some ginger, we got some mochico, we got pinole, which in fact already has sugar and cocoa and a little bit of cinnamon and all of that. Gonna add in my peanut butter remnant from this jar. You know, this is one of the reasons why I love a mini spatula, because you can get a peanut butter jar really clean if you have one of these. On top of that all, I'm going to go in with a little bit of our fancy olive oil from Seca Hills. I'm going to say like 2 tablespoons. And I'm just going to distribute that fat a little bit in the dries before going in with our liquid, which I'm going to dump in the remainder of that sourdough starter that I rehydrated this morning. Again, for a little bit of flavor, but also I just don't want those flakes around anymore, and I also just don't want to throw them out, which, you know, maybe I should throw them out.
Hello.
How's your food?
It was great. Excellent friendship.
Glad you think so. Okay. As you can see, the flakes are not completely rehydrated yet. They're kind of still chunky. I probably should have rehydrated earlier, but I didn't plan for any of this. So we're just rolling with it. We'll see how this dough holds. I'm not sure. We don't have, pretty much besides the sourdough starter, any gluten in here yet. So stay tuned. I also tested some recipes with buttermilk, and I don't need the rest of this, so the main base of the hydration in this dough will be buttermilk. 88 grams to start. That's about 1/3 of a cup, a little bit more than 1/3 of a cup. I think we're gonna need a little bit more. I went up to 1/2 a cup total. Can you hear my stomach rumbling? Kind of hungry. Which is why I warmed up my cabbage soup. After I finish hydrating this cracker dough, I'm gonna take a bathroom break to pee, because we all should be hydrating and peeing. And if you're not, you should. And then I'm gonna eat my cabbage soup, and then we're gonna see if we can roll this dough out. Potentially, but maybe not. Who knows? That's the fun of it all. I went up to 160 grams total in buttermilk because there were still some dry spots. And I don't know if you remember, but the last time we tried to make crackers on Alive, they kind of fell apart because I underhydrated it. So this is now about 2/3 of a cup of buttermilk. Every flour absorbs liquid differently, so I don't really know how this is going to behave as a dough. And you know what? I think I'm going to put some chia seeds in here. Half a tablespoon of chia seeds. This will hopefully bind it together a little bit better because chia will bloat with moisture, and you know how it turns almost gelatinous with moisture. Chia and flax interchangeably are used to make quote-unquote vegan eggs for baking because they do gelatinize and bloat like that, which makes them sort of like a binder substitute if you don't have eggs. Okay, pee break. Oh, hi, Fred. Do you want some carrot soup? No? Yes? No? Okay. Well, carrot soup, I understand, is definitely not your type of thing. You know, it's got a lot of ginger and carrot and oh man, that face. He doesn't like that at all. Aaron, have you given him any treats? You sure you don't want? I'll give you some treats, Fred. He was like, I can't give you 2 shakes for the price of 1. Give me my treat, bitch. He hates it when I do this with him, when it's time for his feedings. He swats me. He slaps me. We've gotten into quite a few intense fights around mealtime because he doesn't really let me hold his paw this way when he's hungry. He's hungry. Last one, Freddie. Hope you enjoyed.
Hello.
Hello. How are the oranges?
Couple were good, and then sweet and tangy, and then 2 just had no flavor.
Dry. Chance it with the dollar bags. You don't always win when you buy the dollar bags, y'all. Sometimes you lose. Okay. I think I'm ready. Let's roll this shit out. Oh. Do you want to eat an apple?
No thanks.
I just dinged one of these, so I guess I'll eat this and I'll replenish it.
The ugly one.
Yeah. Feel free to redeem it for another apple. I'm sorry for dinging it. just letting it sit. Let's turn up our oven. 350 sounds good. I'm gonna try to skip the parchment today, see if that works. I'm not sure I will, but we'll see. Actually, I think the dough might be a little too soft at this point, so I'm just going to transfer it here and cut it here because I don't think I'd be able to retain that shape. If I were to peel it off the sheet and then replace it onto the baking rack. You know what I just realized is we never really even like tasted the dough, so we'll see what happens. little extra sugar on top. Not too much because I'm probably gonna eat all of this tonight. Hi, Freddie. Have you come to join us? Should I poke with a fork? That's a fun idea. Fred, do you want to smell? Not quite up to temp yet, but I'm just gonna put it in there because why not? It'll just get dehydrated anyway. I guess we should taste this dough, just to see. Tastes like a chocolate yogurt. I just realized that I did not put any sort of baking soda or powder into this. My bad. I definitely meant to, but I guess now we'll just have to see how it comes out. Okay, I'm gonna switch the tray order because the middle is a little bit hot. I'm gonna flip that orientation around. I'm gonna put this in the middle. And I'll set it for 7 minutes. Better to check sooner than later. Because my fridge was so full, I knocked this apple of Aaron's out, and so it got a little bit bruisey. The worst thing about bruising apples from a major impact like that is if you don't eat it immediately, these bruise spots will continue to taste worse. So I think it's destined that I eat this little ugly one. He looks like there's a little worm trying to emerge out of there. Did anyone ever learn how to peel a fruit with a paring knife in their hands? Because I've never learned how to do that. And I've always wanted to do it, but it always seemed very scary to me. You know? Like, this I know is a serrated blade. It's not going to be sharp enough to cut me, but I see so many people peel fruit with a knife in their hands like this, and I'm like, how do you do it without hurting yourself? And also props to the people who can do it in one single take. This apple is gonna look like when you try to peel a egg that has not been boiled properly. I think we did Instant Pot hard-boiled eggs for delish. I've not done it for myself. I'm not a fan of hard-boiled eggs. Turn the fruit, not the knife. I see. You know, it's just not meant to be. So it goes. Hello, Holland. We do a lot of things just for fun, don't we? It's fun to be able to peel the peel and then eat the peel rather than just eat the peel. I feel like there are many things that we do that are totally unnecessary, but we do them because it brings us some sort of entertainment and refuge and escape and distraction from the fact that we're all just here to eat, sleep, shit, and die. Right? Pretty much. Can you imagine if they taught us in school when we asked what the meaning of life was, if we were ever even thinking about the meaning of life at a young age? That the purpose is just to eat, sleep, shit, and die? Like, how differently will we be living life right now? Do you think? It sounds like a joke, right? But is that any worse than the shit that they tell us in school anyways about what the meaning of life is? I don't know. These edges are starting to turn a little bit brown, but definitely not there yet. Let's do 3 more minutes. We'll check back in. I don't know what knife this is. I always just thought of it as a serrated paring, but I'm also not a knife expert, so. Root canal tooth still feels a little funny, but I'm just gonna keep eating stuff and crunching down on it until I lose it, at which point we'll cross that bridge. think experiment with cooking falls under the eating. I'm sure we can expand that list if you're gonna go into the nooks and crannies of what each of those entail, but for the most part. Eat, sleep, shit, and die. That seems like it. Everything else is negotiable but those. Fun fact, I did just buy a used Chinese cleaver of sorts from eBay, so we'll see what condition it arrives in. It was only like 15 bucks, so it won't be a huge loss either way, but I did really want to buy a brand new knife. Very excited to see if we can sharpen it and make it a murder weapon. But we're not really gonna kill anyone except maybe pumpkins. Okay, the dough has started to dehydrate and shrink. You can see how it has begun to separate itself, even though I didn't really separate it. And that was 10 minutes total. I'm gonna go for 5 more. I want it a little bit drier for sure. And I think it's not really gonna get dry until it cools, but might even need a little bit more than just 5. We'll see. I mean, you can pay taxes or you don't have to pay taxes. If you don't pay taxes, you'll probably just get thrown into jail, at which point you won't, depending on which country you live in, not just directly be executed, you know? So in terms of living to death, I don't think we should include taxes in that. You must eat to stay alive. You must sleep to stay alive. You probably must shit to stay alive too, and then you die. Taxes, optional. It's just, if you don't pay your taxes, you have other consequences. Hopefully not immediately jumping to death. these won't really be crispy crackers. They'll just be like slightly gummy, tough crackers. Probably because I didn't add enough oil and no leaveners of any sort. So I just gave them a flip. That way they can get a little bit more dehydrated from the other side without burning terribly. Let's check up on this one. I think another 5 should do. Sometimes when you make mistakes or you just didn't put very much effort into it to begin with, all you need is to be a little bit patient with it. I might just have to drop the oven temperature to 325 and just let it dehydrate out. Or I just eat gummy crackers. Either way, it's not the end of the world. I could also literally just brush more oil on here right now if I felt like it, but I don't feel like it. Let me just show you the dough. It's been roughly an hour. The tastiest dish from the last few months, I don't know. I don't remember. What have I eaten? It's truly been. It's been a while. It's been a. I'm wetting my hands because that makes sticky dough easier to work with, ironically. Water just protects you from the doughiness of it all. And I'm just lifting it gently and letting the dough fold back on itself. And when the dough gets too tight to fold any more times, like you can't really stretch it out without breaking it, I usually just turn it over and let it rest seam side down, like that. And if you want to make it any more compact, you can do this lift and just letting the ends drop underneath itself move until it tightens into a boule, slightly rounder. And it doesn't look like much now because it isn't much right now. But after you do this 5 or 6 times, you'll start to see a lot more structure happening as the gluten gets even stronger. And it will start holding up the air bubbles that the yeast emits as they fart out. We are all just yeast in this ball of life. In this planet we call Earth, just eating sugar and farting until we get baked. And then we are no more. Miss Aquarius. Oh yeah. They're starting to get a little dark, a little dehydrated. They're starting to split. I feel like once these cool, they'll actually get a little bit more crackery. Definitely getting there. I'm going to venture a guess and say that this tray needs about 3 more minutes. And the other tray needs 5 more minutes. So I'm gonna put 5 on that timer. That back. Is everyone else out there just learning of a new COVID case in their friend circles every week? Because it seems like the norm now. And at first I was like, well, that just seems bad. But now I'm starting to think maybe this is good. Because now when I get told that somebody has COVID, it doesn't seem like people are as scared. And I think, especially with the Omicron variety, it seems less intense in terms of side effects. Obviously, the death rates have gone down, so maybe this is just the new normal now. Maybe we all just get Omicron and, I don't know, live with it. The new flu, like we've been joking about. Joking, not joking, for the last 2 years. Every place is understaffed because of Omicron, which I think is great, honestly. Because, I don't know, I feel like people have learned that it's actually okay to call out sick. Like, it's socially acceptable now to call out sick and actually take time to be a human and heal and not be sick when you go to work. Obviously, it's a lot harder on the industries still trying to churn out the same service with only half or a third of their force, but oh well, it's just life, isn't it? That's just what we're doing now. Oh my god, Steve. Toasty. Toasty edges. That's true. Immunocompromised folks will surely suffer more if they get sick. That's always just been the case. I don't know how to feel about anything anymore. There's another new strain too? Great. Can't keep up with this. Aaron, do you want to try the cracker?
Delta Cron. It's Omicron combined with Delta.
I know, that's what Chad just told me.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting Delta Cron.
Delta Cron. Oh
What am
no.
I trying?
Cracker.
Yes.
You can have a toasty one or a not too toasty one. It's up to you.
Take a look at them first.
You can. You should.
Tell me about the crackers.
The crackers have pinole flour.
Mm-hmm.
So that already is like a cornmeal based cocoa, vanilla, sugar kind of thing. You should let it cool a little bit more. It'll get crackerier. Yeah. You can take one of these in about 20 seconds. It'll taste better. It has sesame seeds, chia seeds, cranberry seeds. It has ground ginger. It has a little bit of sugar, a little bit of olive oil, and that's it.
It's okay. I like savory crackers. This one's kind of sweet with the cocoa. I think it's more of a June cracker. Nice work.
Here, try this one. It's crackerier, and it
Okay.
has more sesame seeds. Doesn't it have a slightly like
Yeah, that's better after it cools.
tahini taste?
No.
Chocolate tahini?
Oh, yeah. Tahini.
Tahini, not tahine. Tahini.
Yes, it does.
Good.
It is acceptable.
Acceptable. That's the highest praise I could ever get from Aaron for one of my experiments, I think. It smells so toasty. I love smelling this. Mmm. These definitely benefit from getting a darker toast because the sesames that I used were untoasted, and so once it gets heated enough that the sesame seeds start turning golden, you get that really delicious nuttiness from it. The buttermilk kind of makes it sweet too. So, what is this taste reminding me of?
Shall we go, Jude?
Yes, give me 1 second. So this reminds me of like cream biscuits, like Chinese store cream biscuits, but if you chewed that in your mouth, put a little bit of Milo flour, just a tiny touch where you couldn't even taste the chocolate, and then you also took a swig of Yakult. If you're an Asian kid, you probably know all the things I just told you. Cream biscuits plus Milo powder plus Yakult in your mouth is this pinole cracker. I like it. This tray got a little too dark. Whoops. Okay, gonna end the live. I'll see you, I don't know, sometime. Happy MLK Day.